episode of In This Very Ring. We are all live in separate locations, but we're all still here. We got a big house tonight. Butters, Matt, Chrome, the Ginger Gang, and we got Greg. I'm obviously Ritz, and we're going to talk some WrestleMania. WrestleMania Night 1 is in the books. It was probably better than any of us expected it to be. But it was capped off with one of probably the best 20 minutes of professional wrestling I've seen in the last 5 to 6 years. Definitely the best thing Undertaker has done since WrestleMania 29. We're brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Check them out on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. We're also brought to you by Ambuck Services. Poll question for today is: the Boneyard Match was the best Taker match in years. Agree or disagree? Chrome. Actually, Butters, let's start with you. Keep it normal.
Good. It was great. I agree so much. I mean, Taker's had some sloppy matches here, past WrestleManias, and this one kind of just amped it up and made it a lot better.
Absolutely. Maddie.
I agree. I think they went all out. They really, it's tough when you don't have an audience reacting to what you're doing, but I give them credit. They went out there and they put it all out on the line like there was an audience there, and they were at whatever the hell the stadium's called in Tampa. It was like they were there. They performed at such a high level. I agree. It's a very good night.
Crow?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think, this would have looked a lot different, and I think we'd have a lot different opinion if Undertaker had been in a regular arena match, and whether there's a crowd or no crowd, I don't think this would have worked. The way everything was done was spot on. It was basically short film cinema, and it was amazing.
Definitely. Greg?
Yeah, I unfortunately agree as well. I never liked a whole panel to agree to a poll question, but yeah, the fact that the way it worked out, the way that everything went down was definitely good. I really enjoyed it.
Oh, most definitely. And this is one of those instances, though, I think, Greg, where it is okay for everybody to agree to the poll, because it was like, I remember I was on with Chrome last night. We were watching it kind of like a Zoom call, and there was just silence when it ended. And I haven't felt that way in so long with a wrestling, anything wrestling. Granted, I am a huge Undertaker mark. It's a proven fact. But it was still just so well done from the start, with the Hurst and AJ coming out, all the way to the finish with the barn catching on fire and the logo and that picture of Undertaker on the bike. Start to finish, there wasn't anything that I could pick apart with it. Real cool. So let's go around the table, guys. Does anybody have a favorite moment from the match, the Boneyard Match?
I'd have to say on top of the roof.
All
the fighting on top of the roof, throwing AJ off. It was great.
One of my favorite moments was when he was riding in to the Boneyard on the bike, and you had Metallica in the background and everything. I was like, this is badass. I was stunned that they didn't decide to, I'm not surprised they didn't roll with Limp Bizkit, but I'm surprised they didn't do American Badass or something like that. But I was like, hey, I'll take it, man. It's cool. Haven't seen him do that in freaking forever, so it was awesome.
Chrome, Greg.
Go, Greg.
I'm going to go with the moment he appeared behind AJ after AJ initially put him in. It was during that portion of the first half of the match. I'm sitting there. I'm like, is this really the way it's going to end? Because if it would have ended there, I wouldn't have been as excited of the match and everything. And then once that happened, it obviously turned around, and then the match started picking up, and so that was obviously the turning point. That was the big part for me.
Chrome, favorite moment?
I'm with you on a lot of that, Greg, but for me, I love the nuances of things. And, I watched it 3 times. I could have probably gone for 4 or 5, but honestly, I like the little nuances, like the point where AJ's basically saying, and you can kind of just hear him like uttering as he's like totally beaten down. Don't bury me. Please don't bury me. And then following up right after that, where Undertaker basically like gives him the hug and then the kiss of death, and then boots him into the grave. It was like watching like a mobster scene.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was great. But what I loved was, and don't get me wrong, the picture of Undertaker behind AJ when those lights came on and he's just right there, like it was shot beautifully. But when it's early on in the match where Undertaker has AJ on top of the hearse and he's beating him and he's like, "Don't you ever talk about my wife, you sorry son of a bitch." I thought that was an intense moment because yeah, and then AJ with AJ when he's not thrown through, what was that? Was it like a pallet or a fence, or when he throws him off the barn? And I don't even know what that was. But he
Supposed to
throws.
be like I think pallets or something, or
That's
like
what I thought.
dilapidated wood or something.
Dilapidated wood. But when he throws him off of there, and how intense it was of Undertaker, like, no, we're not done with you. Come on, picks him up. It's literally all shot like a movie.
Well, even like to add to that part, right? So like AJ's laying there and he's like, "What's my wife's name again? How old am I?"
Yeah.
It was beautiful. And honestly, like I know we love the dead man character, but kind of back in the day when we got the American Badass, for that like 2 or 3 year stretch, it was kind of a nice breather from a character that I felt like was getting stale. So like we've talked about how like we felt like it was slowly building to this character, and I thought it added to it that it like wasn't, we're going all dead man character. Like it was the American Badass to where he's just talking with this little bit of a southern drawl that he has, and it was just like a shit talk fest between the two of them. Like I thought that added to it. It refreshed him. It felt like something different. And if they go forward with this character for the next like 2 or 3 whatever things they do before they go back to the dead man, if we get to that, because who knows how long he has left, I'm totally down for it. Like it felt refreshing to see this.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and I made the comment last night that Undertaker looked phenomenal through this. They built him up so well in just a short, like it was a 19-minute match, movie segment, whatever you want to call it, but they built him up to where he just debuted again. You know, in the sense of he was untouchable, he was unstoppable. It was his element, it was his match. But like you talked about nuance, I love the fact that they brought him in on the bike, but they still had him call out the fire. They brought out the druids. There was still elements of that dead man character. You know, and you hit the nail on the head, Chrome, with the American Badass. I like the Undertaker being more of a shit talker. I like him not afraid to confront the issue in a verbal way, whereas I feel like with the Undertaker, the dead man, it's more of a mind games. It's more of a mental game, whereas the American Badass is more of the physical.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
You know, and Jake right here with this comment hits another nail on the head. You have some of your most casual wrestling fans that don't watch on a regular basis, and it was fantastic. You know, there's not a person. Rephrase that. There are plenty of people out there that don't like this, but it brought everybody in. This was. I don't think if you have this match on another night, on another card, in another setting, I don't think it hits as well.
Well,
I don't think it would hit.
I mean,
I don't think it would hit that well if you put it in an arena. You know, it seems better on the outside than it would inside the arena.
yeah, I mean, I was worried they were going to do a Sting Vampiro type of presentation that WCW did back in the day, which was real hokey and gimmicky. This was closer to the Matt Hardy Broken Universe type of stuff, which was really cool. I thought it was better done. I thought there was more continuity to it, because the Hardy thing gets all over the place, and it's fun, but it's ridiculous. That's part of the appeal.
There's too much on a Hardy thing for me to enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I love them, but it's ridiculous. This actually had like a story continuity. And it had some of the tricks, the Undertaker tricks with raising his arm in the fire and stuff like that, or just obviously appearing out of nowhere behind AJ. But it wasn't as off the wall. And there was a legitimate beef there. And I mean, AJ was brilliant in this.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely brilliant.
AJ sold wonderfully. I love the part where, what is it? Right after, I'm trying to think when it happens, but there's a part in there where AJ's just absolutely gotten his ass whooped, and he gets. Oh, it's when he crashes that headstone. Was it a head? Have we confirmed if it's a headstone? I watched it like 3 times, and I'm
That's
still
what it
not
looked like.
sure.
I think it was supposed to be a headstone.
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for.
When he smashes the headstone over Undertaker, and he's just kind of recouping and everything like that. That was fantastic. Or when Undertaker shows up behind him. That was...
See, okay.
No. What were you going to say?
See, I'm seeing Todd's comment there, and it says the Boneyard match saved the night except the tag team single ladder match. They needed a crowd because they did some amazing things. See, I'm going to disagree. I didn't even think about the fact that there wasn't a crowd there through the whole night, the whole presentation about everything. And see, Tom's asking about how you guys felt about no crowd. I was worried about it, and I'm a person who's supposed to be in the crowd, right? I was supposed to go there, and at least for those 3 hours, I didn't sit there and I expected to be wallowing in my misery of I should be at this. I didn't do that. I thought what they did, I didn't go in expecting it to be WrestleMania in the same sense. I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and they definitely exceeded expectations on my part. And again, this is probably a 1 year off, right? So we expect people to be back in crowds and the usual for next year. So for 1 year to see the presentation like this, to be able to hear, Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, with the verbal jabs back and forth, and hear that all throughout the night, to me, it made it a whole different experience to enjoy. I didn't even think about the fact that there wasn't a crowd there. I was just entertained by the product they were putting on.
Oh, definitely. I mean, here, I don't get me wrong. I want the crowds back and everything like that. I want that sense of normalcy
Me
back.
too.
But I wouldn't mind if, maybe not a pay-per-view, but maybe a network special or something. You go back to this, empty arena cards and things like that, because they're nice. They were a nice breath of fresh air, something different. You got to hear. I think some people really added to their characters last night and helped highlight their characters a lot better and highlight these stories. Like one thing, and it's a little off topic, but with the Otis Dolph Ziggler match tonight, that's going to be one I'm going to be very interested to see what some of the dialogue throughout the match is going to be.
Most definitely.
Yeah, part of it, what I liked about, especially the ladder match too, is like you hear an Uso talking shit to the other guys. You know what I mean? Or even to himself, trying to get himself, back into it. That early bump he took when he twisted up his knee. He was like, come on, got to fight through. You don't necessarily hear that all the time because of the crowd and whatever's going on around it. But you're right. It kind of, once you got past it, which we all have, after that initial show, what was it? The initial SmackDown was the first one, right? With no arena, or no fans. Once you got past it, you kind of, warm up to the idea, and hearing the back and forth between everybody is something new and enjoyable.
It added to AJ or to Kevin Owens and Seth. I thought it absolutely added to that whole thing.
One thing too that I will say is that one thing that I think probably helped them was you can have a matchup where you have a dynamic of heel and babyface. It's sometimes hard to do that with a live audience nowadays because everybody's so smart and they shit on a lot of things that they really don't need to shit on, but they do it anyway because it's fun to do. So I think that helps too with the matches. Now it's just like, okay, we don't have to worry about any smarks like saying, okay, we're going to shit on this guy because we read online that they said this shit about fans, so we're just going to boo the fuck out of them all night long, I think that helped add an element of we can actually build the match and have the heel versus babyface mentality going into it. Because sometimes when you're in the middle of a match, people be booing the babyface, and it's just like, well, that takes away from the match. It takes away from the, the feeling of the contest, like it's supposed to be the babyface and he's getting booed. What the fuck,
Real quick, Thomas Campbell had a comment, right, about the Undertaker and kind of overselling. I think, I could kind of see that the first time I watched it, but then when I went back and watched it again, and again, I think part of it too, Andy, when you were saying, what did he hit him with at first? He didn't realize it. So this was the Undertaker. He was playing that part of, does he have it in him? He's he has the badass to start.
Yeah.
But he starts taking a beating back. The fact that he got hit with a tombstone was supposed to be that kind of downhill where we're going to start seeing, he is the old man. He doesn't have it anymore. I didn't find him overselling at all. And let's be real. If you get hit with a tombstone that's broken over you, you're probably going to be breathing like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And the part where it really, because I was actually replying to Thomas's comment as you started bringing it up. So the first time watching it, I agree. I thought it was a little much, but the only part where I thought it was much was when they went through the fence. And they were laying there on that metal. I thought that was a lot, but past that, I don't. And watching it back a few times, it worked. It fit the moment more.
Yeah, I mean, it was cinema. We have to remember it was cinema.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a regular match.
It wasn't a wrestling match. It was a short film almost.
Yeah, that's what it felt like to me. It's like just a regular movie.
This might be the best thing that WWE Studios has ever put out.
Did you see the trailer for that main event movie
that
with the little kid really and all the undercard wrestlers in that?
Kofi's in that movie. How is he undercard?
Well, not Kofi, but
No, it's a lot of NXT guys though. It's a lot.
There was a lot of
okay. I see what you're saying, Todd. Yeah, ladder matches are kind of weird without a crowd. I think it's more or less that's what he's saying. The "this is awesome" type of stuff might have undermined some of the moves. I just personally didn't feel that way, but I could understand that, and it would have added to it for sure.
So I wonder though, because Chrome, you and I obviously watched it together, right? Did any of you guys watch it in little like virtual parties, or did you just watch it solo?
I watched it solo.
So
with the wife.
How different was it though? Because like I said, we watched it together. We were able to have those conversations and bounce things off. And Butters, I know you and I were messaging each other, but
I will say it was a little awkward at first. At first it was awkward because a big spot you would expect to hear the crowd, and you're used to that, so you're kind of like, whoa. But then you get past that over time, and the ladder match.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Okay, the ladder match, I could see where he's coming from because a ladder match is really meant to get the oohs and the ahs out of an audience. I could see that. That's a tough sell. But, I mean, even without it, I'm happy that they actually still put the match on because they could have easily have just said, you know what, we're not in front of a crowd, we're not in the stadium, we don't know if we can do this in the studio, so we're not going to do it, But they did, and they did do a lot of crazy stuff, so I give them a lot of credit for that. Considering the fact they could have just said, we'll just have a regular triple threat match, which would have been stupid. It was already weird enough with only having one representative for each team. So
yeah, I didn't like that. I didn't care for that. But the match was awesome. I just didn't care for that at all.
What did you guys think of the OC's involvement in the Boneyard match? Was it too much? Was it not enough? Did they not need to be there?
I was surprised that we didn't see Kane, but then I thought, you know what, it makes sense because he's probably extremely busy right now. So I could see why he wasn't there. But I was a little surprised we didn't see him if we were going to get the OC. You know what I mean?
See, what I'll say to that, because I think I said the same to you last night, right? Like, I thought Kane maybe would be involved. Again, you're right, spot on though, Maddie. I'm sure he's crazy busy with all this stuff that's going on right now. Yeah. And, I didn't need it. It really didn't need it. We forget that the Undertaker is supposed to be this mythical character, right?
True.
So when they started introducing the fire and all those different things like that, it's like, oh, right, okay. Like, he doesn't really need it. I like the OC's involvement. I didn't think it was over the top. And you know what? They allowed for us to get to see a tombstone. You got a tombstone thrown in there in the middle of it in a very cool, creative way. I enjoyed it. I thought they were fine.
Killed Carl Anderson. Well, see, and like I made the comment I don't know who I said it to. It wasn't on a stream. It wasn't even last night. But when Undertaker Monday night said that he was bringing a Holy Trinity with him, I thought we were going to get Kane and somebody else, right? Or at least 3 different versions of the Undertaker. Yeah, Paul Bear's going to come back from the grave. Who said that? Of course you did.
Hey, they could have got the voice or made a ghost.
Yeah, right.
Just use that big ass urn.
Or they get the classic shot of AJ standing over Undertaker with a full moon in the background. You just see Paul Bearer's face and the "oh yes" in the background.
Hey, listen. If you remember WrestleMania 29, when they made up Paul Heyman, he did a pretty good visual.
Oh, I do remember that. That was horrible, though.
He looked like him.
That doesn't even that doesn't age well, though.
It's because you're a mark.
Maybe.
Most importantly, though, did we get any meme faces out of this? Do you think? Did we get any meme faces from Taker during this entire thing?
You already have had 1,000 different memes of the spot when Taker was standing behind AJ Styles with the light shining behind him.
That's a good meme, though. Those are good memes. I haven't seen any bad memes come out of this.
I know. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of disappointing. I wanted to see at least one meme face before the night was out.
Did anybody see? Obviously they showed pictures of when they were filming it, or you can find them on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one of all of them standing around with the production team, and Taker's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth.
I didn't see. I saw that picture, but I didn't see the cigarette.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
That's awesome. Damn it! I just had something. I literally had it. You brought up the picture, and I lost it.
Can we not? Well, while you're looking for that, let's also mention the fact that I knew it was going to be great from the open when they had the hearse driving in, and then it pops open and it switches to AJ's music, and AJ pops out of the hearse, and you're like, oh, here we go. This is going to be something.
Yeah.
Nice little swerve.
Yeah, I really, really like that. I like that. And then Undertaker's entrance had a very Western-y kind of badass feel to it.
Yeah.
Which
I know I messaged Ritz over here. I was sitting there screaming internally like a little schoolgirl in an NSYNC concert. So good.
God. It was.
I was nervous the OC's input was going to be too much. I like how it ended up playing out, but when it first initially popped out that they were there, I was like, oh boy, here we go. Here comes another Undertaker match where he's going to crawl out whether he wins or loses. He's either going to be at the bottom of the grave, or if he wins, he's going to be crawling somewhere. So I was glad how it ended up turning out. It wasn't overbearing. It wasn't too much. But my first initial reaction to them being there is of course they'd be there. Why wouldn't they? And then here we go with the mob mentality.
The only thing I didn't like was when they first show up and they show out, they say, we're not done with you yet, Taker, or something like that. And then they step off to the side and the Druids come out. That was the only thing I didn't like. I would have just if the wall fell and there were the Druids and they surrounded them. And then you have the OC come in and beat them down. That bit right there where they're standing there, I could have done without that in the long run.
I mean, the fight scene with the Druids was a little for me. But I mean, other than that, everything else I could,
Well, I think it's set up. I think it's set up for the OC to come in. That was a better setup than saying, "Hey, Taker, we're not done with you yet," kind of a thing. Just let the wall fall down behind Undertaker, like Undertaker's looking in the grave, because AJ's in the grave at that point. Undertaker's looking in the grave. The wall falls behind Taker, and it's the Druids, and they surround him, beat him up. Well, not beat him up, but distract him, and then OC comes in and starts beating him up. Any guys have anything else for the Boneyard match before we start kind of recapping WrestleMania as a whole?
Yeah, damn fun stuff there.
Yeah, good.
I thought it was just kind of tying a bow on it. I thought it was great. It's the best thing we've seen from Taker since WrestleMania 29. If they moved forward with anything involving The Undertaker just being a cinematic presentation, he could go for 15 more years and I would be happy.
I said that last night too. I said, if this is all you give me for Undertaker, he doesn't ever have to hang it up. I'm good.
But that being said, I'm actually interested now because you saw that series that's coming out on the network, which is kind of when is it time to hang them up type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. Yeah, that looks awesome.
I will say it was nice to see him have a high point for whenever he hangs up because it's been pretty brutal.
Yeah. But Chrome had to check on me last night when they announced that because there's never really been a Taker documentary.
No.
Where they've really pulled back the curtain on that. And so I that's going to be my favorite thing on TV.
And you know what I'll say too, to add to this? One of the best parts, and this is why the viewing parties are kind of fun. Throughout the whole thing, whenever we were watching stuff, we would periodically, we leave it on mute so you can't hear the background feed for everybody. And then when you're going to talk, you just unmute and talk real quick and then mute it again. And that whole time, it basically stayed on mute. And I had my iPad right under where the TV is. So I would periodically look down and how mesmerized. And to watch the reactions, the genuine reactions of the 5 other guys I was watching with, Andy included. Dude, it made it that much better of an experience to watch this because we all, there was one point, Andy, I think I had my mouth open.
Oh, yeah,
with my
you
hands
did.
on my cheeks like this for 3 straight minutes.
Well, and at one point, I don't remember, I think it was when he rolled in on the motorcycle. I freaked out.
Andy at one point, literally was throwing his hands up like this, oh my God. Oh my
I was
God.
in it. Well, but see, I knew that Billy, because we watched it with Billy and then a couple other guys that Chrome travels with, Billy, Pete, myself. But I knew for a fact Billy's feed was ahead of mine. So as they're building up to something, I'm like, all right, this is either going to be a schmoz, it's going to suck, or it's going to be great. So I keep periodically looking at Billy, and Billy's just, mouth on the floor, just all excited. I'm like, all right, this is going to get so much better. It was great.
It was. Great way to end the night, too.
It really.
Really smart to end the night with this.
Very, very smart. We said it last night, if you end with Braun Goldberg, it doesn't leave us the same feel.
What's that?
If you would have ended with Braun and Goldberg, we're having a totally different conversation today.
Yeah.
That match.
Oh,
if we can call it one.
Listen, when it's WrestleMania, especially when you have circumstances like this, you need to end on a high note.
Mm-hmm.
And they figured out what's going to be the highest note. They rolled the dice with it because you are typically used to a show ending inside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Inside the arena with something going on. They could have tried to do it with Braun or anything else. They opted not to go that way. And I think it was a really smart decision. And now it's got people talking, people who didn't watch last night talking about going on today and watching what they missed and then watching tonight's presentation. Because tonight you have John Cena and Bray Wyatt in the Firefly Funhouse Slaughterhouse match, which is very likely going to be a similar presentation. So
is it a Slaughterhouse match?
Well, I mean, the T-shirt they're selling for it says that, but
okay,
it could just be a Firefly Funhouse match, whatever.
As long as it's nothing like that Randy Orton Bray Wyatt match from a few years back. As long as it's nothing like that.
You know what though, man? They've done Hardy stuff since then.
They have.
I feel then to see this, I feel like they've learned their lesson.
Yeah.
From that.
Well,
so
it's funny that Maddie brings
first time
it up.
out the gate, and it was really a fresh concept back then.
It was, but and also to be fair, that rivalry had no steam at all whatsoever.
Oh no, all of it was really bad. I mean, even the WrestleMania match was subpar. But it's funny you bring it up, Maddie, when it cut to the cemetery or the Boneyard last night. I was sitting here with Chef watching it, and he goes, "Tell me this isn't going to be another Randy Orton Bray Wyatt." And I was like, "God, I hope not." As they're cutting and the hearse is coming, I'm like, "God, I hope not." and I'm so glad it was. It was nowhere near, like never on the same level. Show opens up with Gronk and Mojo. What did you guys think of the way Gronk was utilized last night?
It was him doing him.
It
else
was,
to
man.
say.
I mean, I preferred the WrestleMania intro better than Gronk.
Oh, that intro was phenomenal.
That was.
Yeah, that was a good intro. Yeah.
And I loved the America the Beautiful through the years.
Yes.
Yeah, I like. I'm a big Gronk guy, so like I liked it, but I also like how it was. It didn't overshadow the whole night. You know, I think they used it very well, sparingly. I would have personally liked to allow him to win the 24/7 I-95 Intercontinental Southern States, 7-Eleven European champion. I would have liked to have him that, and then have Mojo take it from him.
European title.
To each its own. I
think maybe they'll do it tonight. I think Gronk's going to get pissed off at Mojo, and I think Gronk will get pissed off enough at Mojo for taking it away from him. I think Gronk will get it tonight a little while, and then Mojo will get it back, or R-Truth will sneak up.
Yeah.
We made the joke last night.
It's night 2 WrestleMania, so
we made the joke that Drew and Brock are going to close the show, and as it's going off the air, Gronk's going to win the 24/7 title as it's going off the air.
That'll be the WrestleMania moment. That'll be the moment it'll go by. You know, it's like, oh, we had Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow. We had Floyd Mayweather and Big Show. We have Gronk versus Mojo Rawley at this year's WrestleMania. Perfect. Completes the trifecta right there.
Chrome, the question was, what do you think of Gronk's involvement last night?
Love it.
I didn't have to finish.
Love it. I didn't get enough Gronk dancing. I love the outfit. I love the glasses. Loved all of it. And I heard you guys talk about it, and I mentioned that last night. I hope they go off the air at WrestleMania tonight with
That's
Gronk
right.
holding the
That was you
24/7
saying
title.
it last night.
I said last night, I hope that they have that. Gronk holding up that 24/7 title, and literally that's how WrestleMania goes off the air. And
they let Rob Stone hold it. You know what I mean? Like from Fox, like Gronk held it. Come on.
There's no way Gronk doesn't win it tonight.
So, I guess we officially retconned whatever the hell gimmick Mojo was doing before tonight.
Yeah,
When he
absolutely.
went back-
That doesn't exist.
Whatever the fuck he was doing.
The weird face paint doesn't exist.
Yeah, where he was yelling at himself in a mirror.
Listen, R-Truth deserves a main event at WrestleMania at this point. Have him win it from Mojo. Have Gronk win it from R-Truth at the very end. R-Truth gets his WrestleMania main event.
I
Gronk
swear
gets
to
the title.
God, if that happens
That
tonight,
will be. They would be all over ESPN. It would be the top story on ESPN.
Yeah, that would go viral. You're damn right on that one.
If they do that, it has to happen when Brock's back. It's like standing up if he's lost, so we can get a Brock face out of this and just see his reaction to what the fuck he's looking at right now.
Brock just like turns around and looks up at the podium, like, what the
but no,
fuck?
it's got to happen in the ring. Like Brock's in the ring,
Yeah.
and they're all chasing after R-Truth. Brock F5's R-Truth, rolls out of the ring, and Gronk wins with the assist from Brock.
And the funny, it'll be like that MVP Royal Rumble moment all over again. And then Brock's just dancing with freaking Gronk with the 24/7 championship.
Listen. Bring in Ronda to be the special referee for the 24/7 title. You go off the air. With a Gronk Brock face off with Ronda standing in the background.
Now this would have been so much better had it been in the Tampa Bay Stadium, because you could have almost gotten Brady to show up and be a special guest referee for it.
Oh my god!
Oh my god! Paul.
That might be the most sports reference I've ever made, but
That's a good pull out of you. I wouldn't have just.
But he's gotta wear
that out of you.
But instead of wearing a ref outfit, he's got to wear his Tampa Bay Buccaneers jersey, and just to see what the reaction would be from anybody who's a New England fan.
that would be great.
Oh, I could see it now. Tom debuts the 12 jersey on his body at WrestleMania.
Nothing else is going on. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross capture the women's tag team titles. I know
Who's
Chrome's
calling
not
it?
happy about it.
But it was still, though, a very solid match, though, to open up the show.
The match was very good.
Yeah,
It
I
was
enjoyed
good.
the match.
It was good. It started off a little slow for me, but I mean, overall in the end, it actually turned around, and I actually liked it.
I
See,
love Asuka without a crowd.
Oh, she's just yelling in Japanese. Yeah, it is awesome.
Her and Kyrie. I love them both, but I really love them without a crowd. It is so entertaining.
I gotta find somebody that can translate what Asuka says. I need to know, like, if she's actually making sense or if she's just talking random gibberish.
When's your
Because-
birthday, buddy?
But you know-
I'll send you some Rosetta Stone.
No, you know what though? They missed the golden opportunity here. They should have had somebody putting up some random ass subtitles underneath of it and just see what the hell would have happened the entire time. Like some bad kung fu theater.
Or what was that? What was the Cannonball show or whatever? The Knockout show? You have the
Yes,
guys.
I know what you're talking about.
You know, you have the
the
sort
thing
of
on like
subtitles.
Spike TV,
Yeah,
like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Just throwing up like he did well, and then he's like going nuts. I liked the match. I thought it was good. I thought Nikki was really good. I think I would have rather seen Nikki get the pin than Alexa. You know, personally, if that's the way you were going to go, you know what I mean. I thought Nikki she held that match at least for their side together for so long and did such good work. I would just rather her get the payoff.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been better because it was the Nikki Cross show for most of that match. But the women's tag titles are so they're disappointing right now.
It's been the way they've been booked, you know? Like they
Absolutely.
very rarely
100%.
you know, they very rarely get put on television half the time, and when they do, they're not defended most of the time. You know, it's like, yeah, I get it. You don't want to keep giving away title matches on free TV, but the thing is, it's like, but these are the women's tag titles. It's not the world title for crying out loud. Come on now.
And you have the option to move them around to different
Yes.
shows, and I feel like that hasn't been explored enough.
No,
Well,
not
I
at
think
all.
I think with them putting it on Nikki and Alexa, they have a better way of moving them around, giving them something to do. Because all they're doing is just sitting around talking on a talk show every week.
But see, now with the breakup of Fire and Desire, who's next?
NXT.
That's not confirmed yet.
Oh, come on.
Let's not
Was
not jump the gun.
We're not jumping the gun. I'm watching what's been produced.
Is that on the tape delay for Monday Night Raw after Mania? Fire
By the
and
way-
Desire breaks up.
By the way, who booked that shit?
Oh, God, here we go. He wants his on-air recognition, doesn't he? I think last night we weren't even on the air, and he made a point to make that hey, remember when I booked this?
I booked that 3 months ago.
I
Every
gave
second
you
of
your
it
credit
was
last night.
exactly as I said it was going to be.
I gave you your credit last
And
night.
I still enjoyed it. It was
Great.
I'm actually really excited for that match tonight. I think Otis is absolute money. I don't know what it is about him because it's so gimmick. He's so gimmicky. Like their tag team name is real hokey, but I find that dude to be so entertaining. And it's remarkable. And I would have
the
never
caterpillar, man. It's the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Dude, I would have never thought a year ago that I'd be sitting here saying Otis is one of my most anticipated acts in WWE, but he really is.
Well,
Guys, I just realized something. You know what they need to do? Just for one occasion, they need to have Otis stand off to the side and be like before, and then put Scotty 2 Hotty on the other side and say after.
Yeah.
And just, that
Who
would
did
be
it
a great
better?
image.
Who did it better?
Yes.
but see,
By the way, Otis does a better caterpillar.
100%. But it was
Oh yeah.
it was last year sometime, or within the last probably 6 months, where Tucker cut a promo, and I was like, "This guy's fantastic."
Yeah, Tucker.
And I
cuts
wasn't-
good promos.
I wasn't too high on Otis, but then they strapped the rocket ship on Otis. Tucker's just kind of like, "All right, I'm gonna hold on."
Tucky!
Otis is carrying this whole thing, and I love it.
I'm not even kidding when I say that I want to figure out a way to get a soundbite of him yelling that and make that my text notification.
I'm sure we could figure out a way to do that.
Oh my god, it would be the greatest thing ever.
I'm sure we can figure out a way to do that. There's enough smart people in this world. We can figure that out.
Well, I'm not one of them.
I mean, if
I
you
didn't
look at
go there.
today,
I didn't go there.
though,
What'd you say, Maddie?
I said, if you look at the news today, though, it may seem that there's not enough smart people in the world right now.
We're not even going to bring any of that up.
You right though.
Elias King Corbin.
Okay.
Moving on.
I mean,
You know what I'll say about this match?
Oh.
If, the worst thing that I saw last night was a good quality match between guys I just didn't really care to see in terms of their program together, to me, that's a successful night. To me, this was like the low point of the night, and it was a good match. It was actually a good match.
Yeah.
I just didn't – I could save that for Raw. I didn't need that for WrestleMania. So if that's the
somebody
worst,
actually said it in the comments earlier that it was a Raw match. It didn't need to be on WrestleMania.
it was a little better than some of their on-TV matches. It was a good match, but I just didn't need it. But
there was
for
a
the
little
low light, I'm fine with
satisfaction.
that.
There was a little satisfaction watching.
now I guess people are just sad they're not used to seeing Roman versus Corbin 20 million match number 20 million and one.
You shut your mouth. Don't do it again. You shut your mouth,
Dog food,
bastard.
No, but I'm sitting there watching WrestleMania last night with the wife, and she's in shock and awe of the whole thing. She don't watch wrestling, but she goes, "Did they announce King Corbin?" She goes, "Did they just call him King Kong?" I said, "No."
It was nice seeing him get smacked with a guitar early on. Like, that was nice.
Oh yeah.
That was some personal satisfaction.
Well, I mean, considering that he actually did murder Elias and Elias came back from the dead, I think it's
so
warranted.
is Elias like the Big Show?
I guess. But wait a minute. Hold on. Did he murder Elias or did Brock murder Elias at the Royal Rumble? Because it's hard to tell the difference right now.
Well, I mean, Brock didn't throw somebody dead on their back off of a ledge, so
That's true.
Brock just bludgeons people to death.
All right. One of the more shocking finishes of the night. Becky Lynch retaining.
Yeah.
What was that all about, guys?
That stunned me.
I don't know. I saw this coming a mile away. They're just too in love with Becky right now. Shayna I think it's too soon for Shayna to get that title, or at least I guess in Vince's mind anyways. It'd have been a nice feel, have a title change, but I guess we ain't going to get that anytime soon.
I mean, but this was the point to do it. Like, this was the point where you put the... Uh-oh. Chrome disagrees. What a shock. Guy, bring it
I
on.
don't think this has anything to do with Becky Lynch love or anything like that. This is the one match that I really would have wanted the crowd reaction because of the fact that you would have probably seen the swing of Shayna cheers and Becky boos.
Mm-hmm.
I think that when the moment comes for Shayna, they want to have a crowd there for that. If the coronavirus thing never happened, if this is an arena show, I absolutely believe that Shayna would have won that match. I think this was a match that was probably changed on the fly. I think that she'll probably get, if they have it, she'll probably get her moment at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that would make sense because you do want the pop. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, all right, yeah. I'm you don't disagree with me.
I will say this: they do hold the most awkward moment of the night because Becky coming in on the the trailer, the tractor trailer that had Becky written across it with no crowd, no music, no nothing. I was like, you can honk the horn all you want. That really doesn't. I don't give a shit. Like, that is completely pointless right now. Could have cut that out. You didn't need that. But the match was fine. I had no problem with the match.
Well, I mean, they did that last year with Charlotte coming in on a helicopter. It's the same. It's the same thing.
I get it. It's just like,
yeah, but to Maddie's point, we were there. Though.
That wasn't necessary.
What
But,
does pulling up on a
they
truck
said,
have to do anything?
like some people have said earlier, like y'all talked about, Becky coming out on the tractor trailer. Why couldn't we have Kairi Sane come out on like a mini pirate ship or some shit with Asuka?
Being pulled by Becky in the tractor trailer.
No, I could.
I just see Kairi standing on top of the tractor trailer, just going like this. and just looking at
Yo ho.
fence with the little what do they call those on the ships? The wheel of the ship, basically.
I think they're separating Kyrie from the pirate thing. They have been doing that for a long time.
Yeah, pretty much ever since she did the whole Kabuki Warrior thing, she hasn't really gone back to that pirate princess well.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna save that
could've been the
pirate
one
princess for
time.
her. Yeah, maybe, but they're gonna save the pirate princess for her face character.
I think if you're moving forward with a character, it would do worse for her to go back because that was real hokey and gimmicky. Everybody hated that. The only time they wanted to say it was for this, but they would have hated it all year if they went back to it. I just think it would have been terrible.
So Brodo, we got Brodo over here in the comment saying, "No, Matt, Gronk owns for the most awkward moment of the night because he thinks that his dancing he was so cringy during his opener."
He was amazing.
He was awesome. That's
He was
exactly
amazing.
what you want Gronk to do. And
Exactly.
that's
I'm
what
with
you
you,
want.
You know,
You don't bring Gronk on to be like scripted and to not be cringy and awkward and weird. That's what Gronk is.
You bring Gronk to be Gronk. Exactly.
Make it his own Gronkomania. Come on now.
Gronkomania, let's go.
Like, do
Actually,
we want?
I love that he
We
had a
should
shirt that said
call
Gronk Mania.
They should have had T-shirts made of that shit.
They
wow.
did, didn't they?
They do. They have them on the site.
Oh, they do? Oh, okay. I was gonna say, boy, if they don't have those, then
You need a
holy
tumbler.
Wait.
You need like a coffee tumbler. They got a coffee tumbler that has
Wait,
Gronk
can we
Mania
all
on it too.
pitch in and buy Ryan a Gronklemania shirt?
Yeah, let's go.
Yes,
Might be
we
You don't
need
have
to
to
do
pitch in. I'll
that.
just do it. I'll do
We
it.
need to do that. How much
I'm
is
gonna
a
go.
T-shirt
I'm
for?
gonna go
Like
buy mine
25?
now that I know it's there.
Yeah, it's there. It's pretty awesome.
So what? We got to split it. What? 35 or 25? Like
Oh
five
no,
ways.
Greg just offered to do it all, so I'm the Jew's
Oh,
out.
okay then. Cool.
The Jew's out.
Nah, I'm sorry, Ryan. Gronk is amazing. I love everything about him.
Now, see, this is where I'm on Ryan's side. I didn't like Gronk.
We know.
Well, yeah, you don't like sports, so you wouldn't
Right.
like.
It's not that I don't like sports. I just
That's
don't
like-
appreciate it the same way you do.
So all right. So let's
I am
take
to sports as Tom is to wrestling.
So wait, let's take this. All right. So I'm gonna ask Ryan, right? Ryan's biggest gripe with Ronda Rousey is Ronda Rousey isn't Ronda Rousey, right? She comes out and she might be this badass behind the scenes, but then she comes out and she's all smiley and huggy with the crowd. What doesn't work about that? It's not Ronda Rousey being Ronda Rousey. So why are we going to be pissed that she's not being Ronda Rousey, but we don't want to let Gronk be Gronk? You bring Gronk in for this reason. That's like saying, hey, Brock, why don't you go out there and start kissing babies and shit on your way out to the ring?
If Brock did that, I think I'd turn it off.
I think
Exactly.
I think I'd turn it
Actually,
off.
no, you know what? That would be the best thing Brock could do because it would come right the fuck out of nowhere and people would be like, "What the fuck is Brock doing?"
No,
It'd be like create a superstar on 2K19.
Yeah. And then Paul Heyman would get on the microphone and say, "You never know what the Beast is gonna do. The Beast wants to
No.
kiss your baby."
no. See, because that would be so weird.
I don't want to know what goes on in Matt's head. I was about to ask, but I don't want to know.
No, see,
That is truly some R-Truth stuff right there.
when we get the unexpected Brock moments, it's when he's dancing when Keith Lee's coming out. And it's
Yeah,
when we get what's it, Boombox Brock?
Yeah,
What is it?
Boombox.
Oh yeah.
I never thought I needed that in my life. I've said it 100 times.
I
I'll say
didn't
it
need
again.
it in my life.
Boombox Brock is like Fat Thor. I never knew I needed it, but it's everything I've ever needed in my life, and I will stick to that to this day.
Can we all say that if Money in the Bank rolls around, Brock has to win it again so we can get him back?
Oh, I
Get
No,
Boombox Brock
God,
back?
no. That made me so mad when he won. Just randomly showed up and won.
loved it. I loved
Made
every
me
bit of it.
so mad.
I loved every bit of it. I loved that. I loved Boombox Brock, and then I loved being there when he cashed in Extreme Rules in Philly. It was awesome.
Is it funny to say though? Every time Brock has done something that people shit on, it turns out it's like the funniest, awesome thing of the night. Like it's the weirdest thing, right?
He is a GIF machine, or GIF, whatever you call him.
God, you're old.
God, you're old.
It's a GIF. Either
So
way.
Brodo just said, "Did you really just compare the Ronda situation to Dancing Gronk? One is a
That's
UFC
who he
fighter.
is.
Hold on. One is a UFC fighter. The other is a football player with a party bus."
It does, but that's
Thank you.
what makes Gronk Gronk.
He says,
Gronk
"Have
is
another
that
drink,
guy.
Chrome."
Listen, Brodo, sorry to tell you, buddy, but that's what makes Greg agrees with me. That's what the appeal of Gronk.
You're not going to win any argument with that.
That's why Gronk is mainstream. There's no argument to be made. He's mainstream. If Gronk wasn't that guy, then he would be a guy who just catches footballs and is forgotten about in the NFL. But it's everything else in the character that he is beyond that point. That's what WWE wants, because that's what gets eyes. So absolutely, you let Gronk be Gronk. It's not, you're bringing in, you may as well bring in Brent Selleck at that point if you're not going to fucking let Gronk be
What the hell
Gronk.
is that?
What?
Who's Brent Selleck?
Did you just say that on A2D?
I thought it was Brent Selleck.
I think he thought you meant Tom Selleck for a
It's
second.
Brent Selleck, you asshole.
Again, I am to sports as Tom is to wrestling.
So that would have been something you probably should have kept in your head and texted me and said, "Isn't his name Brent and not Brent?"
Sorry. I'll wear that one though, and I don't try to pretend that I'm something I'm not.
It's a good thing that Brodo wasn't producing. He would have put up the Andy face at that moment.
Hey, don't give Ralph any ideas.
Wait.
That's what I'm here to do, Andy.
What is
Shut
his
up.
face?
Oh, you don't know about this? There it is. Thanks, Ralph.
Oh, good to be Ralph.
Thank you, Ralph. Thank you.
That is amazing.
Caught the cue. It's called calling a spot, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, clearly. All right, so we were talking Becky, Shayna. That's how we got on the Gronk bit. Anybody have anything left for Becky, Shayna before we keep moving on?
Yeah, I didn't necessarily have an idea of where it was going either way. I just thought the way it ended was just awkward. You know what I mean? And that kind of threw me off. However they wanted to go with it, obviously they were going to do whatever they want. The truck with Becky is weird. It just, I don't get it. No one buys it. She's really driving that. But just the way it ended, like that whole sequence of ending to me was just very strange. Like I kind of felt like I was Shayna, just like with the confused face on, like what is going on here?
Yeah, for me, I didn't like it because we already saw that with Kyrie back at, what was it, Evolution, or was it a Takeover?
I think it was to Takeover.
It might have been, either way, we saw it with Kyrie. I don't want that to be the way they beat Shayna every time. I would have rather them come up with something different and something new.
I mean, I kind of feel bad with WWE here because I think they kind of got thrown into a situation where they're like, well, to add on to Chrome's point, you do want a crowd for Shayna to go over, and then at the same time that you're also like, damn, but we built her up so strong. You know, you're kind of in a, damned if you do, damned if you don't sort of position here, because you don't have the reaction of Shayna winning her first WWE Raw Women's title, and at the same time, you have Becky retain it. Becky's is kind of getting stale, and I will agree on that. The problem is, you're fucked. Either way you go, you're fucked.
Yeah, and it's the first time this happened on the main roster, right? So
I'm going to...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, to me, it gives them the out. It allows them to continue the program because, they did the old Bret Hart Stone Cold Survivor Series finish, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't let go of the hold in this terms. She doesn't let go of the hold. She gets pinned, but gets her shoulder up. Because if you look, her shoulder was actually up. So you could even play into that to get into the rematch and say, well, she never really beat her. So it allows them to continue.
There's two questions I have based on that. One, do we see them try to do Shayna and Becky again tonight? And two, what does that say for Drew versus Brock? With having no crowd and wanting that crowd reaction.
I mean, did anybody watch the documentary that Drew did?
No, I watched the Boneyard match again.
So I watched a good chunk of it.
Did you?
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was very good.
I thought it was really good.
And he kind of talks about that, right? So, he's resigned to the fact that if he wins the title, it's going to be a very different experience. I think that they want Shayna I think they need the crowd more for Shayna than they do for Drew at this point. So I would say no big deal.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I think you're right, Chrome. After watching that last night, he's even reserved to the fact that, as you said, it's going to be different if he wins it, and he's okay with it, it seems like.
Took him a little bit to get to that point.
Yeah, it did. But, and he would rather have it happen like this than not happen at all. So,
yes.
So I think, to your point, yeah, I think it doesn't – I don't know if it necessarily has a correlation to it.
And you're right. And he did talk about – and it's not really giving anything away because they kind of set it up in the beginning. But, they do talk about the fact that he he felt like, oh, this is my luck. But at the same time, he comes around and says, listen, nothing is normal at this point. So, I would rather win it, like Greg said, and put on an entertaining show for people at a time that they need to be entertained than worry about the crowd being there. So he has the right attitude going into it.
And then Brodo chimes back in.
Of course he does.
He's adding to his little Gronk roll. All right, where is it? He goes, for the 1,000th time, my problem is Gronk being there, period, all capital letters. I never complained about his character development. And then he adds, and yeah, it'll get plenty of eyes, and they'll say, what the hell is this? And change the channel to Judge Judy.
No, they won't.
No, they won't.
No, they won't.
Everything on right now.
I mean, it is
new.
It's hard. It's hard to compete with Judge Judy. I mean, let's be honest. There's such thrilling stuff going on with those cases and everything like that.
And also,
she's
Judge Judy's retiring.
Yeah, but still, man, she's taking care of those murder cases, and a lot of those car thieveries and stuff like that.
Maddie, she's retiring.
I know.
She won't be. I don't even think she's recording anymore. I think she's actually retired.
I know.
I don't agree with that whatsoever. I'm with Greg. There's nothing on now. Gronk is a magnet. Whether you love it or you hate it, Gronk is a magnet of attention, and everybody will flip it on to see what Gronk does.
I don't even think that it's character development. I think Gronk's just that way anyway.
That's
he
who
must
he
be
is.
like that. Yeah, he's like that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Is he married?
No.
Okay, because I'm going to say, holy shit, his wife must be.
No way in
Wow.
hell.
Listen, I mean, I get what Brodo's saying. If you're not a Gronk fan, you're just not gonna like it. I mean, that's really the gist of it. If you're not a fan of seeing his antics regularly, I love him. I think he's amazing. I think he's hilarious.
He annoys me.
Well,
I feel like we're going to see more of Gronk down the line, probably SummerSlam maybe, just, to get with the crowd if we get a crowd by then. Just to kind of see a crowd reaction of what,
I feel like it would have been better with a crowd. That's the only thing that I think would have been better with a crowd. And we said this. I didn't like Gronk by himself. It felt weird.
I mean,
and I feel like if there is a crowd, then Gronk's just going to be out there in the crowd. I mean, out there with the crowd instead of like just behind the scenes or, down the ramp or something. I feel like Gronk would be in the crowd partying with everybody.
I mean,
that's exactly why you bring Gronk on.
Yeah, exactly.
I would also say this too. I mean, WrestleMania has had a history of how many people, like how many celebrities being a part of the show. It's like it just adds to that. Really, that's what I'm kind of indifferent to it. Of like, yeah, it's just another celebrity that they add to the list of celebrities that they've had at WrestleMania. It's no different.
Listen, we have the Jericho cruise, right?
True.
Who's to say now with the Gronk cruises, whenever cruises come back, that he can't get WWE Town and turn it into something very similar?
I think he already does cruises himself anyway.
That's what I'm saying. He has the Gronk cruise.
Oh, God. Don't let him do Gronkomania.
It's him and his brothers, basically. Oh, I'm in.
God.
I'll go.
Oh, God.
I've never once had a desire to go on the Jericho cruise. I'll be all over Gronkmania cruise. Let's go.
Let's go.
No, they
You
have
got
to do
way
it for
too excited for that.
You have to do it for the big four. You have the Gronk Rumble, Gronkomania, Gronkaslam, and of course you have Gronk Series.
I'm in, Maddie. I'm in.
Yeah, but see, the party can't start until international waters.
There you go. And listen, you could have the Gronk brothers as a Survivor Series team together. Let's go.
Up against what?
You could have the Gronk fight
Doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter, Andy. It sells
that
itself.
reference, Andy.
Do what?
Gronk's fight the Watts.
The Watts. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right, moving on. Sami Zayn and Daniel Bryan. I hated the beginning of this match. I absolutely couldn't stand it.
I don't like anything Sami Zayn's doing right now, but I get that's the character. You know what I mean? But
Ginger Castro.
Yeah, that's what we were calling him last night.
Yeah.
I kept questioning, when did Fidel Castro become a WWE superstar?
We were curious if he was cleared to take contact because we haven't seen him take any contact in forever. So it was okay. It was a good match. I'm with Andy. I didn't like the beginning. It took my wind out of my sails a little bit. It took me a while to get back into it, but it was good. It was fine.
I got into it more towards the end, but I'm not a fan of the whole Cesaro, Shinsuke, Daniel Bryan little faction they have going on anyway. But what's so tough is I love what they're doing with Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. So like where Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak are like here for me, Sami Zayn and everybody else is like here. So the match kind of fell like here, and I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
That was kind of the match that I'm pretty sure most people would go to the restroom.
No, that would have been
be the
Elias and
restroom
Corbin.
That was Elias and Corbin.
I was Elias and Corbin. But
100%.
I will say though, I like the fact that this was a heavy hitting match. If you can hear how like stiff the shots were between both of them. Like Zayn may not have had much contact in recent years, but he didn't care. He's like, Daniel, hit me as hard as you possibly can hit me in a working fashion, and Daniel freaking did, And I was like, damn, these guys are beating the shit out of each other in this match. So I give that to them,
It's people
Bryan
like Jeremy
works pretty
here
stiff.
that I don't agree with. Jeremy chimes in saying that WrestleMania was terrible besides the Kevin Owens Seth Rollins match. Just not the same without the crowd. Guys, Chrome went on this rant on Thursday. It is going to be different, but you can't look at it the same as you do every other wrestling event. It is something totally different in of itself. You're watching it now for the product in the ring. If you watch it for the crowd, you don't watch wrestling for wrestling. That's my opinion.
I didn't even think about it not having a crowd the whole night.
Exactly.
The only time I did was when Shayna and Becky, when we had that conclusion. Just because I thought to myself it would have been different with a crowd, and I would have liked to hear the reactions. Aside from that, I didn't think anything about not having a crowd.
Obviously, most of us too have gotten used to the fact that we're watching it without a crowd now, so it's nothing new.
Right.
So I get that, for someone who's just watching it for the first time, like, oh, I missed the crowd. Well, yeah, we've kind of gotten over that, right? So
yeah,
we've moved on to what it actually is, and yeah, I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah, we've had Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite to get us used to no crowds. So
wow, it took me a minute to figure out what the hell Dynamite was. I just call it AEW. Or call it Dynamite. It's just AEW. That's not a shot though, but like they don't have any other show. It's just AEW. You know what I mean?
Well, they have their YouTube show After Dark.
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
Do your homework, stat guy.
Supposed to be a wrestling fan, man. What the heck?
Nice. I'm even turning your own tag team partner against you. I love it.
Shut up! Wow. All right, we'll play that game. I'll play that game. Morrison defeats Uso and Kingston in the triple
It was a
threat
great
ladder
match. I mean, it was a good spot fest. It was an amazing match. I loved it. I'm more of a big Uso fan. I kind of wish I would have seen them win.
I didn't think the Usos needed the win here. I don't think the New Day needed the win here. Kind of don't think it should. If you're going to have a tag team match, right, and you're going to have it in this fashion where you're only one representative, I could have done without having the Usos and the New Day. Put a different team in there.
I was fine with the team selection.
Don't get me wrong. I was fine with it, right? I loved the match. It was a solid match, but having either of them win didn't – I knew Miz and Morrison were going to keep the titles on the other side.
The ending was a little off for me. I didn't, the whole everybody pulls it down at the same time. The belts get pulled off. I don't know. The ending's kind of what The only thing I hated about it.
I like the end.
I like the ending. It was different. It was unique because you actually forget that it's on that little like hanger. The titles are on the hanger.
Yeah.
And you pull the hanger off. Like, I forget who said it. Somebody's like, so they have to grab both titles, and we were like, yeah, they have to grab both titles. And no, it's always been for the last since TLC 2013. They've had that little hanger holding the titles up.
First time they used that hanger was Cena Orton when they were unifying the titles.
At TLC 2013.
Well, be more specific so people know what fucking match, man. Not everybody's a mark like you. We don't just assume what match it was.
We're getting fucking hostile up in here, aren't we? Okay.
Listen, you got snippy with me. I just tried to clarify the match. So
Fair. But no, I liked it, and I made the comment last night. The new cliche spot in the ladder matches, building that bridge from the ring ropes to the ladder in the middle of the ring. I hope they don't overplay that though. I like how different that can be. What's up, Maddie?
Oh, I was gonna say, basically the whole thing with 3 teams and neither one of them needing to win. I think both of them. It didn't matter who won this match, in my opinion. And the only reason why is because all 3 are pretty stable when you think about it. John Morrison and Miz, they're where they are. They're not going anywhere. And then you have the New Day that are a solid tag team. They've been that way for a long time. Same with the Usos. You really could, if you wanted to make a belt change, another belt change for the night, you could have done it here, and it really would not have been a big deal, because you could have done anything with the SmackDown tag titles in this particular matchup.
Fair, very fair. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins.
Oh, I didn't have anything to say about the tag match at all.
I mean,
Huh?
I didn't have anything to say about the tag match at all.
I mean, do
So
you?
blow right by your panel here.
Fine. What do you have to say, oh Graham Pumbaa?
Well, thank you for asking, Andy. I have a few things to share about this match. I like the match. You guys mentioned the spots. It was really good.
This is the part where he
There was
says it was great and just shuts up.
There was a weird... No, I'll never do that. There was a weird editing point in it, obviously, which didn't really take much away, but I'm mentioning because a ton of people have mentioned it. But overall, I thought it was good. I personally thought they could have had all 5 guys. But considering that they are limiting the amount of people who are participating in certain things, I understand having one representative. If it was a regular environment or there wasn't so many restrictions on things, I would say they could have pulled this off and had the same exact finish with Morrison just representing the team himself. But overall, good match. It's nice. I love when there's a ladder match at WrestleMania. So it was nice to have that back.
Yeah. You talked about the editing. I want to go back to the Kairi Sane, the women's tag match. When Kairi Sane hits that insane elbow to break up, I think it's the pin, I believe it is. That looked like there was a weird edit there. The camera cut away too quickly. I don't want to say too quickly, but it was just weird.
Yeah, I mean,
there was another part in that match too where I think that Nikki had Kyrie hung up in the ropes and she was waiting for Asuka to like come and save her from like the DDT out of the ropes, like Wharton or whatever, and she just kept looking over to Asuka like, are you coming? Like, oh, we're here.
We're over here.
You need me to paint you a picture?
Jeremy says, and without the crowd, it's stupid. You're all bugging the fans, make it all. Yes, just watching the wrestling is fun without the reaction of the crowd. The 1, 2, 3 pins, ring entrances, all about the reaction.
Punctuation is an issue. Apparently. They know where to stop, where to pause. But it was very excited, that whole thing, because of the exclamation point at the end.
And I love the random capital letters.
Yeah.
So
listen, if it's not for you, it's not for you, man. But I'm telling you, a lot of people were able to get over it. And a lot of people who typically have been critical of programming without a crowd were able to get over last night. Check out social media. The idiots who didn't like it either don't watch regularly or are the type of people, and they're the same people I see who complain about everything. It doesn't matter how great it is. So it is what it is. There's people that complained about the Boneyard match. And anyone who has any fucking sense went and enjoyed that.
Just wait, because I'm pretty sure when sports starts back up, we're going to have quite a few events with no crowds either. So, I mean...
Yeah, at least you have an event going on.
Don't you put that evil on us, Butters.
Tell me how baseball, the NHL...
I'm not putting evil on, I'm just saying.
You know it's coming.
So,
we're going to get sports, but it's going to be without the crowds for a little while.
I want
people...
people...
at first, but I'm for it with as opposed to none.
Let me tell you something, Greg. Because let's get into that rabbit hole right now. All right. To me, baseball is the only sport that they could maybe pull off without a crowd, right? And when I look at tell me if you're an NBA and NHL fan, because the moment you get the NBA and the NHL and there ain't a crowd there and it's like watching a fucking tape practice or a rec league game and they have a playoff logo on the floor, don't you fucking tell me how great of a game you just watched, because I guarantee it's going to be just as boring as you're claiming that was last night. Don't be a hypocrite then. If you don't want wrestling right now without a crowd, you don't want the NBA or the NHL either. So don't come back and tell me later that you want it. That's not just that guy. It's at everybody who's complaining about crowds, because it's the exact same thing. It's never going to feel the same. It's just not going to feel the same.
Hey, do you think that if they did baseball without crowds, the Marlins would feel like they have some dignity?
Well, they've been prepping for it for a while. You're right there.
Them and Tampa. Let's be real.
Oh,
but like that's the thing. That's what cracks me up about this. Like people who are chiming in on the wrestling, no wrestling crowds. They'll be the same people that'll talk about how great it is to have the NBA and the NHL back with no crowd. It's going to be boring as shit. I love the NHL playoffs, and what makes the NHL playoffs what they are is the crazy, raucous, freaking crowds that they have. And these people will go. I'm guarantee it. Start taking screenshots of these comments of these people, because they're going to be the same people that are going to be talking about how awesome it is to have sports back and how great the game that they saw was, because it's a purity of the sport. Well, wrestling is the same thing. If you're an actual wrestling fan, sometimes you watch it for the wrestling. And if you don't watch it. That's simple.
Here.
Yeah. And also, we actually got WrestleMania this year. We may not have due to this.
Yep.
So
they may not be on the air for a month or two after this week's program. They filmed up to the end of this week.
All right, so ready for Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, gentlemen?
I love the chirping back and forth. That was fun.
It was amazing.
Yeah, this had the best in-match dialogue for me.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. The only thing that competes with it is the Boneyard match. That's the only thing that competes with it.
But again, how do you I struggle calling that a match. That was a segment.
Well, okay. Well, we'll call that a segment. So we'll take that out of the equation. It's the best chirping during a match of the entire first night.
Absolutely, 100%. I love the finish with Owens coming off the WrestleMania sign.
Yes.
That was amazing.
That was great.
That was pretty spectacular. I had to go back because I was kind of doing a couple things while watching it, like trying to win a national championship in NCAA 14.
How broke are you that you have 14?
They stopped making the game after that.
Oh. That backfired on me pretty bad.
And he just ran away to the wall right there.
Google Andy, we've talked about this
How's
before.
that face feel, Andy?
We've talked about this before. Google and text messaging is your friend, Andy.
So I saw the aftermath and I'm like, wait, did he really just do that? So I had to go back and rewind to watch that whole segment of them showing him and climbing up and stuff like that. But yeah, that was pretty sick.
I didn't even know you could stand on that thing.
I would. That's what I had to watch because I'm like, wait, that thing held Kevin Owens? Okay.
I mean, You know, and if you went back and you saw the Drew doc when they had it lowered in the arena before one of the Raws, you can see how thick and wide it is actually on the side.
Oh, really?
So it is actually a pretty solidly built thing. I thought it was awesome. Again, I didn't even realize that was what that sign was. I thought it was a screen that they had there. So
Yeah, it wasn't until afterwards when we were talking about it.
right, and then when we saw him just like pop up and do that, like that was a way to have a WrestleMania moment without having the crowd and stuff there, right?
Yeah.
Just that image of Owens flying across the WrestleMania logo on top of him on that table, and he got him right in the gut too with the elbow.
Oh yeah,
it was amazing. It was a great spot.
What up, Che?
I like that when the disqualification happens, they continue the match. They turn it into a no disqualification match. It was really nice to hear the bell going across Seth's head, and you actually heard the bell. Rest in peace, AJ Styles. Congrats to Braun.
What's up, JJ? Love it.
Hey, JJ.
Yeah, JJ's pretty awesome.
I would say, too, the way that Seth came out in the entrance, I absolutely love that, where he's coming out in the white robe, and it's like he's Jesus.
Oh my God.
Walking up there on the entrance. I was crying laughing when he started, like, oh my God. That is great healing right there.
It was brilliant. It was really, really
I
well
got a
done.
message from a buddy of mine saying that, Christians' heads were exploding, throughout the, world from watching Seth Rollins' entrance. I mean, it was...
People are saying that there was supposed to be a choir with him had there actually been in a normal arena.
Oh.
That's why he was in the robe. They were supposed to have a choir come out.
Oh, that sucks, man. They at least could have digitized one behind him. That would have been pretty cool.
Put one on the screen.
Acquired, digitized Paul, Paul Bearer. Yeah, I mean, let's just keep going.
Who was it? Somebody last night said that they should put like skeletons and things like that in the seats.
Me.
That was you?
Like,
yeah, if they
have like One Eye Willie greeting people at the rampway.
That's true. You got an empty arena. Use that holographic shit and have your like a whole bone like audience or something like that. There you go.
I mean, AEW puts other talent in there, which makes zero sense, but whatever.
No, especially we've talked about that on this kind of a show. That's a distraction. AEW does it to advance their storylines, to have those guys interact with people throughout the show and advance storylines. With WrestleMania, it would have taken away from the product in the ring, and it would have felt real hokey. It would have been an absolute fail.
But I think it was a very solid match. Of the in-ring matches, I think it was probably the best one.
I don't understand what Rosca's saying by Rollins versus Owens was a Comedy Central match.
I don't ask anymore. I let Rosca be Rosca. I don't ever try to figure the man out.
I don't get it.
I'm just shocked it didn't have anything Mandy Rose or Trish Stratus in it.
And you missed that. He did that already.
No, I know. I saw that one. I'm just saying, even again.
And I imagine if I was to go on and tap the hashtags he's putting in there, it'll only be his comments. It's not trending.
Yeah.
So I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't know, man. I let Rosca do Rosca.
I love you, buddy, but I don't get that at all. It makes no sense. Let's.
He's one of the few people that come into these chats that I don't question what they do anymore.
Yeah, this match was awesome though, and you guys were right. The commentary of the kind of interaction between the two, it was so good here. It just enhanced the storyline, particularly even with the crowd. How this was built up in that heat. It was so perfectly well executed. It was, to me, this could be a classic WrestleMania match.
Definitely.
Yeah. Most definitely.
All right, gentlemen. Let's talk about Braun Strowman, Bill Goldberg.
Here's the Comedy Central.
Woo-hoo! Let's start with Goldberg's entrance.
So apparently he gets into his undies in the parking lot, and he just like is it like are you the dude at the restaurant who takes the trash out and he got locked out the back door and he had to wait for somebody to let him in? Because that's pretty much what it looked like.
During this match, my wife asked me last night. She goes, So do wrestlers only have a choice of underwear or pants for their match, or do they get another choice?
It's at the wrestling. It's the pro wrestling store. That's really your only two options.
Listen, and his security did not practice social distancing. Tisk tisk.
It was so awkward too because they come out of. I guess that was like the gym. Was he in the gym?
Dude, that was the most narrow hallway I've ever seen.
And then
in
they
my
turn
life.
down this hallway, and then they just stop. Right? Like, it doesn't turn around and see Goldberg walking into Gorilla like it normally does. No, these idiots just stop it. It's staying on these morons as they cross their arms. They're just like, hi.
And also too, like, ever notice when WWE does the security thing? It's like it's not like when WCW do it with like police officers. They'd be like, "Oh, you really don't want to screw with this guy. He's got police escorting him to the ring." When WWE does
like armed guards.
Yeah, it's like, "Oh, hey, who are these guys who work at the performance center who aren't good enough to be on
Which
NXT?"
talent are you? Oh, you're enhancement talent number 13. Yeah, you're gonna be guarding Bill Goldberg tonight. 14, you're gonna be his bitch. Okay. And then it was weird. Braun gets in the ring and he's staring at the camera as Goldberg's entrance starts. It's like, dude, turn the fuck around.
Well, that was I did watch this match back again today. That was a cut. So if you notice, he's looking away, and then as soon as Goldberg's music hits, it's like it shows him immediately facing already over there. That was a really bad cut there to where he basically
okay. I
turned
must
around
have missed
already.
that.
Yeah, it wasn't a good cut in the editing room. So, we talked about this, Andy, kind of privately yesterday. This was going to be very telling if they could get Goldberg back at a later time or if they couldn't. And it makes sense to put the title on Braun Strowman if you're not getting Goldberg back, which is what I believe. Otherwise, I think they would have tried to wait until SummerSlam. It's also very telling for Roman because I don't think Roman comes back until there's a vaccine. So even if we get wrestling back, he ain't coming back until there's a vaccine at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, being obviously on that higher risk side, yeah, he's got to be a little bit more careful and cautious. You're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, in terms of this, you can't have Goldberg hanging out high to dry for 6, 7, 8 months trying to worry about a program. And, on the flip side, you don't know when Roman's coming back. So put it on the young guy who, at this point, made sense and deserves it.
But let's talk kayfabe for a minute. So it took 4 spears, and I still don't think it was a jackhammer.
He never got it off. He never got the rubber mallet off. I mean, come on, dude.
He could barely get Undertaker up.
To beat The Fiend, it took 4 power slams to beat Goldberg. So does that mean...
That last power slam, though, looked really bad. Looked like he got Goldberg on the side instead of on his back.
See, this was different, though, because he didn't go for pinfalls after each power slam. He just decided to destroy Goldberg with them.
Well, Goldberg didn't go for pinfalls after each spear, did he?
No.
On
Bray. No, he hit him with all 4, and then
Bray kicked out.
And then he hit him with the jackhammer.
Right.
The rubber mallet.
Right.
In this case, but what you're saying is there were so many of this, right? It took 4 moves, still couldn't put him down. Then it took the jackhammer, or it's not even a rubber mallet, guys. It's a suplex. It's a shitty suplex.
It was a body slam.
He hit him with like a body slam suplex, right? And then that was the finish. But he did go for the pinfalls. Braun never went for a pinfall. He just decided to hit him with the power slams and then pin him.
So does that mean that Braun...
It's not the
beat
same
Bray?
Scenario. What's that?
Does that mean then Braun could beat Bray?
I don't know. I mean, let's go with let's go with booking here. Do you honestly think if they had an idea that Roman was going to be unable to compete at WrestleMania and basically a Goldberg appearance would be wasted, do you really think they would have taken the title off of Bray? Because I don't.
No, we talked about this last night. I don't think they do either.
So
yeah,
I can't look at kayfabe in this.
Yeah, because you're right.
It's not a fair judge.
You look back at it and you're like, all right, if I could have predicted it, yeah, you're right. Would you have taken it off of
hindsight's
Bray?
always 20/20.
Yeah. because you know whether you like that character or not, you know you're right. You would have left it on someone at least active.
See, I don't think that Bray beats, or I think Bray beats Cena tonight. So you really could have gone through this. You could have kept going with this. So I'm not gonna knock him with kayfabe. You need to get at least 3 minutes out of Goldberg, and really we didn't even get that. What's 2 minutes and 11 seconds?
And so it's funny. Your sister got 2 minutes and 9 seconds. I had 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Wikipedia, where I get all the times from, has 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So somewhere in there.
So we did an over under 5.5 minutes, right? Because I don't think Goldberg's had a 5 minute plus match aside from 33, because him and Brock just postured to kill time.
Yeah,
you don't get this. So this was what it was, and we knew it was going to be. I told you.
So I guess you didn't count that time. Didn't count for every time he came back to spear Dolph Ziggler. And then came back to spear Dolph Ziggler. And then came back to spear Dolph Ziggler.
Because the bell had already rung. That was the best, though. That was like Brock Lesnar, Bo Dallas.
That was
I tell you to run, Bo, but you can't move.
That was one of the best Goldberg segments ever. Just destroying Ziggler over and over.
I literally just watched that match right now. Because I initially missed the entrance, and then when you guys started talking the entrance, I'm like, "Oh, I gotta go back and see this. Let's go back and check this." Yeah, match is already over.
Well, that was what we were saying last night with the feeds. Some people were like, at this point, we're like a minute or 2 minutes ahead of other people, so it was really comical. It's like, all right, you have to mute because this match. Somebody's gonna end, and I'm still gonna be starting the match. Like, turn that shit off. So, what are you guys' final thoughts before we do a quick preview on night 2? What are your guys' final thoughts on night 1?
Great show. I mean, you couldn't have done any worse. But I mean, overall, it was a great WrestleMania night 1. Excited for night 2, so let's do it.
I thought it was a very good night. I mean, I will say, it was going to be tough, but I think they made the most of the tough situation that they were in, and I think that I think it was still very solid, and they put on some really good matches, even if there was nobody there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I thoroughly enjoyed the entire night. There was obviously, spots where you're like, "Oh, what's going on here?" But I thoroughly enjoyed the entire night and thought they, as Maddie said, they made the best out of the situation. And I don't think they could have done a better job.
One shot 21. Cena's not ready for the fun house.
Before you go, Chrome, did you guys see that meme? Where they're like, maybe everyone in the crowd is in a John Cena shirt and we just can't see him.
Oh.
That.
Brilliant. I love it.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Chrome, what are your final thoughts on last night?
No, Todd, Velveteen is not wrestling tonight. To me, the goal was, are we going to be entertained? Are we going to be able to kind of forget about what's going on, right? I did. And people have talked about, when you look at certain Manias, do you look at the whole card or do you look at the moments? And to me, for night 1, they created enough memorable Mania-like moments considering the circumstances. And again, if I can watch this show, forget about everything going on, and not only that, now I'm excited for the next night, it's a win. And to me, they won big time last night. Social media seemed to indicate the same. A lot of people really enjoyed it. A lot of people were looking forward to tonight. And the card is stacked tonight.
Right, absolutely. I mean, on a card where you've got the NXT Women's Championship being defended by Rhea Ripley against Charlotte Flair, Brock Lesnar putting the WWE Championship on the line against Drew McIntyre, John Cena going into the Firefly Funhouse against Bray Wyatt, Bayley defending her title in a 5-way Elimination Chamber match against Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina. The Street Profits are putting their Raw Tag Team titles on the line against Angel Garza and Austin Theory. Aleister Black goes one-on-one with Bobby Lashley. In a last man standing match, we're going to see Edge have his WrestleMania return against Randy Orton. And Otis finally gets his hand on Dolph
Let's go,
Ziggler.
Otis.
Let's
Guys,
go, Otis.
Come on, Otis.
I'm an Otis fan.
Get your Mandy.
Yeah,
Go get your
absolutely.
Mandy.
Absolutely.
Hashtag give Otis a chance.
Yes. Matt,
Hashtag
real
give
quick,
fat
and then
guys a chance.
yes, Otis is a champion for fat men all over the world.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Like he might be sponsor of he might be like the official sponsor of the FWL.
The fluffy road and Chrome, I want to apologize. I was not rolling my eyes at your assessment of night one. I just happened to turn on the pre-show, and Natty was sitting there in her freaking cat ears. So I apologize at rolling my eyes and giving the.
But that means Liv Morgan's almost on her way out.
Well, that's what. No, she is, and the dominatrix looks wonderful. That's who I was waving at.
See, I didn't see the eye roll, but I did see the random wave, and I was like, "Who the fuck is he waving
I was
at? He's in
waving at
his room."
Liv Morgan walking down.
Guys, I want to know before we get off the air, what match tonight are you guys looking forward to?
Duh, Otis. Otis and Ziggler, I mean, come on.
Hey, you never know.
Okay, besides the Otis match.
Yeah, besides Otis,
Besides
what do you got?
Otis.
Sorry, I turned on the pre-show to see what he meant about dominatrix, and I can't stop staring at Liv. I'm sorry.
No, but in all seriousness, probably I'm more interested in the women's 6-pack challenge.
5-pack.
6.
I'm sorry. Can you math?
I thought it was 6, dadgummit.
Count it out with me. Count it out.
Bailey,
Bailey,
Sasha.
Lacey Evans, Naomi, Sasha Banks, and Tamina.
I got 6.
You
Dana
can't
Brooke has
math,
the Rona.
asshole. JJ's looking for Drew. So we're gonna let Butters reassess his entire life. Maddie, what do you got?
I'm going with Edge and Orton. I'm actually very excited to see what they do. First time Edge is in a matchup, not the Rumble, but a one-on-one matchup. So I'm excited for that.
Greggy?
Yeah, I agree, Maddie. I'm going Edge and Orton. I want to see, you're right. It's not a Rumble. It's something, potentially long-standing. So let's see if Edge can hold up. Let's see what his stamina is like. I want to see if he can still be that guy.
Yeah, it'll give me goosebumps. It's been a long time since I've seen Edge in a match.
Chrome.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that I'm actually very disappointed about for not being, I mean, a lot of things, but for not being there, it's not being there for Edge's WrestleMania return. So I'm, that's the one thing that now I'm probably going to watch tonight and be like, fuck, this sucks that I'm not there. But that, Edge, for me, as a personal, Edge is a top 5 guy for me all time. I love Edge. He's always been one of my guys. That aside, though, I'm looking forward to seeing, after what we saw last night with the Boneyard match, I'm looking forward to seeing the presentation of the Firefly Funhouse match and seeing, how this whole thing is presented. Hopefully it's not real hokey like we saw with the things with Orton before. I don't think it will be. And, think it's going to be a fun time.
See, for me, it's Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair. If we're taking Otis out of it, and I know Drew's going to have his moment, but it's a Brock Lesnar match. I can't really expect a whole lot from it. It's Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair. I think these two are going to steal the show tonight.
Very well could.
Gentlemen, I appreciate y'all jumping on.
Natty just spanked Liv Morgan.
I just turned it off. Damn it! I mean, I still got that picture with me smiling like a school kid. I don't even know what the fuck I'm smiling like. Meeting Liv at Access last year. That might be the highlight of my wrestling life.
So all we have to say about the Liv Morgan Natty thing, Pornhub, here it comes. All right, go on.
Yeah, definitely.
Stay home hub. Guys, I appreciate y'all jumping on before night 2 of WrestleMania. We're going to get out of here, guys, but enjoy tonight. Enjoy WrestleMania. Are you guys doing a show this week, Chrome?
Yeah,
Should be.
we'll do a recap.
All right, so check out Lazy Booking this week for a recap. We'll be back next weekend. We'll find a time next weekend to be back. for our recap. Until then, stay home, stay safe, stay healthy. We're done here, guys. Enjoy WrestleMania.
Woot woot.